Okay, I did not manage to get my papers cut before we got started, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. We are using the Petunia Pop in color. We're using the cardstock. This is a 2024 to 2026 color. So it will still be available when the new catalog goes live. I also didn't get every single thing set up that I needed for this, but I just went looking for this, which is right here. Okay. I'm going to use this end as the stylus end, even though there are stylus ends that come with your Take Your Pick tool. I just didn't feel like looking it up and changing it up today. Okay, so there's my card base. And then I am also going to cut a piece of 4 by 5 1/4, a basic white for the inside. And cut a 3-inch strip of Shy Shamrock because we'll be using it to do some die cutting in the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I'll be cutting a piece of the, I think they're called floral blends. Let me look real quick. Florals in Bloom. This is from the Florals in Bloom 12 by 12 Designer Series paper that will be available starting Tuesday. So the little sneak peek, and I'm going to cut a strip off of this that we'll be using on the outside of our card. But first, I'm going to make sure it starts where I want it to. Making it 1.5 inches. And then we're going to cut it at almost 5.5, like 5 7/8. I'm trying to decide, yeah, this is the end I want. What we're going to be using, and then I think I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to about 1/2 inch. Gonna cut them in 3 1/2-inch strips, and then we'll decide what we're gonna put on the inside of our card. I don't think that one. I like this one, and we're gonna cut it at 4. Okay, that should be all the cutting we have to do. We see if this piece of paper is big enough for my stamped flower. It will be if I am careful about how I stamp it. So we are going to stamp one of the flower medley bouquets from the mixed floral stamp set, and we're stamping it in tuxedo black, and then we're going to do a little bit of coloring in with Stampin' Up markers. Before we use the die cutter to cut it out. Okay. My Stampin' Up markers, I have Petunia Pop and Pretty in Pink, Bubble Bath, Misty Moonlight, and Shy Shamrock. I think I'll start with some Shy Shamrock and work on the stems. And get the base plate and the cutting plates, and I will be putting this on with some washi tape, because we want to cut out the actual framed flowers. Okay. Get it started. It goes. There it is. And then the next part that we're doing, we are cutting a couple of the leaf stalks. I don't know if that's what you call them, but that's what I'm calling them today. There's one, and we're doing a second one. I think that's all we'll need. Check the size, because we'll be laying them beside our paper. Two will be good. And I'm turning it the opposite direction, so that hopefully it conserves more of this paper. Alright. It is still in the die. We will get that out. And then we will start putting the card together. I'm going to start by gluing the strip of Designer Series paper that we saved for the inside of the card on. And then gluing the inside. Alright, and now we start on the outside of the card. Start by gluing down our strip of Floral Blossoms paper. I'm going to need to trim that off the bottom. then we're going to attach the leaves. Right along the edge. Going to put 2 of them on there. Okay. And then we will add the die cut floral bouquet, and I'm using the edges of my dimensionals because these are still good dimensionals, so why waste them? Paper off. Put that right there. And then there are no sentiments in the mixed florals stamp set, but that doesn't mean we're not going to put the sentiment on here. Sorry, I just am erasing some runaway glue that left a mess. Okay. Let me see which sentiments I would like to use on this. I didn't plan that for him. Let's make this the Mother's Day card. Or it could be. So I'm going to grab a little piece of let's do this on, if I can find a little tiny piece of bubble bath or petunia pink, or pretty in pink. That's what we'll use. Okay, I think that's bubble bath maybe. And I think the sentiment that we will use, we're using it from the Motherhood Mottos. I did not prepare this. How about motherhood is a perfect mix of chaos and love? Okay, and then line it up, top that off, and then we're going to go ahead and put in the middle. You never know, you never notice how weird you are until you have a kid that acts just like you. Put that on the inside. All right. So we're stamping black on bubble bath for our sentiment. Motherhood is a perfect mix of chaos and love. And then on the inside in black, because that's what I have out, you never notice how weird you are until you have a kid that acts just like you. And I'm going to trim the sentiment for the front of the card, and then we'll put it on there and be done with it. Dimensionals, or a couple of pieces of the edge. that on the front. Just right down here. Okay, and it needs some kind of embellishment. I'm thinking pearls, if I can find them. Yep, my antique pearls. And we will just get a big one for right here. And then a couple of the other sizes for up here. All right, here is our first Mayflowers card. Motherhood is a perfect mix of chaos and love. And you open it up and it tells you you'll never notice how weird you are until you have a kid that acts just like you. I hope you enjoyed this. Come back next Thursday for our next May brings flowers. April showers bring May flowers. So our May